Imagine pouring your heart and soul into creating a uniquely beautiful product. Maybe you've sketched out this revolutionary new shape for a chair, or maybe you've designed a stunning, intricate pattern for a new fabric line. When you create something visually striking, something that just instantly captures the eye, the very first question that should cross your mind is, how in the world do I protect this? Because in the innovation space, your aesthetic creation is a massive asset, and leaving it totally unguarded, well, that's a risk you simply don't want to take.
Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're going to completely demystify a really crucial area of intellectual property, industrial design in Brazil. We're going to show you exactly how to forge a legal armor for your visual creations, and we'll do it without getting bogged down in endless bureaucratic legal jargon. Whether you're an independent inventor, a university researcher, or an entrepreneur, understanding this system is absolutely key to truly owning your aesthetic innovations.
Here's our roadmap for today. 1. What is industrial design? 2. Three-dimensional and two-dimensional. 3. What is excluded? 4. Requirements for registration. 5. Deadlines and legal protection. And 6. A step-by-step guide.
Let's dive right into Section 1. What exactly is industrial design? According to Brazilian industrial property law, an industrial design, which you'll often hear referred to by its Portuguese acronym, DI, is defined as the ornamental plastic form of an object, or the ornamental set of lines and colors applied to a product, providing a new and original visual result. Now, the really crucial word to focus on here is ornamental. This legal protection is entirely about the appearance, the visual result of its external shape. And it's super important to note that in Brazil, a DI is protected by a specific registration, not a patent.
Let's anchor that abstract legal definition to something tangible. This isn't just a random fruit crate. This is actually innovative packaging developed through a partnership between UFRJ, EMBRPA, and INT, and it's officially registered as an industrial design. It perfectly illustrates that DI isn't just for, high fashion or modern art. It totally applies to highly practical, everyday items that just happen to have a distinct, original visual form that can be mass-produced in a factory.
Moving on to Section 2. Three-dimensional and two-dimensional designs.
A really crucial step is understanding the physical nature of your design. Take a sleek chair, for example. That's a three-dimensional design because it actually has physical depth, relief, volume, and an external spatial shape. Conversely, think about a giraffe print pattern. That's a two-dimensional design. It's completely flat, right? No physical depth, and it's meant to be applied onto a surface like fabric or paper.
So why does this matter? Well, this distinction actually dictates the exact legal title your registration must use. If you're registering a 3D object, your title has to strictly follow this format: configuration applied to or in whatever the object is. But if it's 2D, the mandatory naming convention completely changes to ornamental pattern applied to or in. Getting this tiny detail right from the start is going to save you a tremendous amount of administrative headaches later on.
Section 3. What falls outside of this protection? What's excluded?
People get this mixed up all the time, so let's make the distinction super clear. Industrial design is exclusively about aesthetics and form. It never, ever protects how a product actually works, its dimensions, the materials you used, or how you manufactured it. If your innovation brings a functional improvement, meaning it makes the product work better, well, that falls under a utility model, which is a completely different kind of legal protection. Plus, Brazilian law sets some hard boundaries on what will get flat-out rejected for DI registration. You can't register purely artistic works or anything considered contrary to morals, so, keep it clean. You also can't register common, everyday shapes or forms dictated entirely by their technical function. Oh, and remember, internal details of a product that no one ever sees, can't protect those here. Finally, brands, logos, and symbols have their own specific trademark protections, so they don't belong in a DI application either.
All right, Section 4, the requirements for registration.
There are 3 non-negotiable pillars your design has to stand on. First is novelty. Your design cannot have been made available to the public anywhere before your deposit date. Second is originality. It has to result in a distinctive visual configuration compared to stuff that already exists. It can't just be a minor, obvious little tweak. And third, industrial application. The object must be capable of being mass-produced in a factory setting, so it can't be a one-off handcrafted piece of art.
Section 5. Let's talk deadlines and legal protection. Let's start with a massive, absolutely vital number: 180 days. I mentioned earlier that your design has to be completely new. But what if you accidentally posted a photo of your secret prototype on Instagram or showed it off at a trade show?
Actually, Brazilian law provides a grace period of 180 days prior to your deposit date. So if you spill the beans within that specific 6-month window, it doesn't destroy your claim to novelty. It's essentially a legal safety net for inventors, which is pretty great.
Let's look at how this timeline builds out. Your protection officially starts on the date of deposit and initially lasts for 10 solid years. After that, you've got the option to renew it for 3 successive periods of 5 years each. This means the absolute maximum limit you can hold an industrial design registration in Brazil is 25 years. Also, quick heads up, to keep this registration active, you're going to have to start paying maintenance fees beginning in the 5th year.
Finally, Section 6, our step-by-step guide to actually getting this done.
On a national level, everything goes through the INPI, the National Institute of Industrial Property. And here is a pro tip that catches so many people off guard. The very first step is not filling out your application. It's actually issuing and paying the GRU, the Federal Collection Fee. You literally cannot start the online application without the receipt number of a paid GRU. And importantly, INPI offers some pretty significant fee discounts for individuals, microenterprises, and universities. So definitely check your eligibility before you pay.
Now, if you happen to be a researcher, professor, student, or staff member at the Federal University of Rio de Janeiro, you've got a huge advantage. You don't have to navigate INPI all by yourself. The UFRJ Innovation Agency exists specifically to manage this whole process for you. They basically take all that heavy bureaucratic lifting right off your shoulders.
For the UFRJ folks, the process is streamlined into 4 super simple steps. First, just fill out a contact form on the Innovation Agency's website. Second, wait for their technical team to evaluate your project, just to make sure it hits all those DI requirements we talked about. Third, complete an internal university form. And fourth, just sit back and let the agency do their thing. They'll file the registration with INPI and track its progress for you. Understanding industrial design registration completely transforms what looks like a daunting bureaucratic nightmare into a really straightforward checklist. It empowers you to secure the exclusive rights to the unique aesthetics you've worked so incredibly hard to create. So as we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with one final thought. Now that you know exactly how to forge your legal armor, what beautiful innovation are you going to protect and bring to the world next?